Hello and welcome. We are going to be talking gene keys today, a little bit of human design, and my squeaky chair is here to accompany me. But I have absolutely been on both sides whenever it comes to being an intuitive entrepreneur, being a business coach, and feeling like content was difficult, feeling like it was something that was a total drag. And like I did, like every time I would get on Instagram, it was like I had finally mustered up the courage to like get up and post for my online business, but it felt like I couldn't take what was in my brain and get it onto paper. It felt like I couldn't take what was in my brain and get it onto Canva. And so Canva really did become my own worst enemy whenever I first really started showing up for my online business. And in case you aren't aware, my background is I ended up moving across the country to become a lavender farmer 5 years ago. I can't believe it's been 5 years. And so I moved across the country. I started a business from scratch. I was making all natural products and doing my lavender farming. And I started doing psychic medium work in between all of that other stuff. I actually thought I was going to retire being a lavender farmer so that I could speak to people who had crossed over. And as it turned out, after I dove into that, I thought I was going to be like Teresa Caputo forever. After I dove into that and I had some incredible like months of like very strong readings, I felt at the same time that I came across the information of these gene keys and really started learning human design, I felt with every single cell of my body that the messages from beyond, that the people on the other side were like, hey, we're good. Like, we don't need any more help over here. But what you need to do is help people learn how to really live their life. And so I sat with it. I felt it strong. I kept studying these gene keys and just realizing that they are a roadmap to our higher qualities. They are a roadmap to the things that make us successful. And so whenever we just decide we are ready to take ourselves to the next level, whenever we just decide that we do want to shine a light on these higher qualities and see what we're capable of, literally nothing in your life will ever be the same because you'll start to see yourself as a different human, as a different individual. And so I felt this all last summer. I decided, I was like, okay, like I'm going to be done with my lavender business. Somehow I'm going to go and I'm going to help people become more alive and help people make money doing what they love. But I didn't really understand how. And it was through the inspiration of these gene keys that were like these little if you were like going through a cave in the middle of the night and you would just find like random torches every now and again. And it was just like these gene keys were those random torches that I kept following that light, like always knowing there was another distant glow. And once I started leaning into those things, that it was like, hey, pay attention to this, all of the right things started unfolding in my business. And I started to become the person that I didn't even realize was buried inside of my system, that was ready to come out and see the light of day. This CEO, this business owner inside of me was ready to stretch her legs, was ready to get her hands dirty. And I had just been playing so damn small with myself that I had never let this side of me go out and live and be free. I was too worried about what other people said about me. I was too worried about, if you've ever fallen into the trap of feeling like everybody else and their mom is the expert but you, like that was the realm that I lived in. Hey, Chris, that was the realm that I lived in, where I thought everybody else had it figured out but me, even though I would bust my butt, like learning things again and again, and like daily adjusting my mindset and daily like making it a goal to be better. But I still thought that other people had it more figured out than me. And here's the thing. Same, yeah. And here's the thing. Hey, Becca. And so I decided that I wanted to be able to express myself online. And at first, whenever I did decide to show up daily, it was a struggle bus party time. Like it was I want to chuck my laptop into the pool and give it the middle finger. It was I would walk around in my closet with big tears in my eyes and be like, how do I get what is in my brain to come out on paper, on virtual paper, on my Canva, online? And so this was one of those things that there were steps that were taken, but the three main things were the energetics behind it, the gene keys and understanding that we all have this unique signature. We all have something different. And not only that, but the action that we can take that is easier and simple than we're making it out to be. I'm not going to say cute. Well, thank you. But really, really, whenever we think about posting online and posting daily, I know this is such like a hot button topic for a lot of like intuitive entrepreneurs because we have this idea that we're supposed to have this whirlwind of inspiration move through us, and then you can be prolific, and then you can be unleashed and post whatever it is that you want to post. And like, I don't know about you, but not every single day do I have the same kind of energy. Like some days I feel razzmatazzed up and I'm just like ready to go. I'm like, let me post. I want to post 7 different posts. Like I'm excited. And other days I'm like, I do not want to get on camera. I do not want to type anything out. Like this does not feel good to me. And so I used to like oscillate between those two things and go back and forth and think that there was something wrong with me or think that I couldn't post on those days where I felt like I just didn't want to do it, you know? And what I have come to learn through the energetics was understanding that like at all times, if we so decide, we get to be plugged in. We get to have that creative ability move through us any dang time you want. It is not just on Thursdays, I post better, or at 7 o'clock in the morning, I post better. Like if at any time you choose and say, I want to be committed to my business, I want to show up, something is able to move through you that is going to make an impact. Do you see how powerful you are? The phone line is never disconnected. It's never one of those things where you're going to try to make content and you have to feel like you want to butt your head against the wall. Because when you so choose to energetically be plugged in to this, what I call God, what you call source or creator or the quantum field, but what I call God, this infinite intelligence that really animates us. Like you are never without inspiration. That's just a fact. And if you can leave with one thing in this big, beautiful brain of yours, it's that you are plugged into this energy all the time. You don't have to be someone special. You don't have to be this person. Like, I don't know about you, but I always thought that like all of these content creators, these people that do business coaching, these people that do like spiritual work that were posting daily, I like thought that they were bopped on the head by the content fairy and like magic pixie dust was sprinkled on them. And they were like, lo and behold, this is the content ruler now. And it's like, no, banana pants crazy. It is not like that at all. You get to decide that you are the content fairy. You bop yourself on the head, and at any given moment, incredible inspiration can flow through you. How do I stop about my brain? I love talking about the brain, but it's one of those things. You get to be the fairy. That's not a real big stretch for me because I love fantasy. I love rainbows. I love mythical things. So I'm like, I can picture myself as a fairy, like content fairy. You get to bop yourself on the head and say, there is this pixie dust inside of you that wants to show up and just be sprinkled all over the internet to the right people who want to buy your programs and be in your audience, be in your world. And so every single time you post, it's like this little chef's kiss. I'm fairy. This little chef's kiss that goes out into this world. I was talking in my Keys to Content course or Keys to Confidence course the other day about like there's been times where I have whistled into my phone like the Hunger Games and been like sending it out to the right people, like I'm Katniss or something. Like you get to do that at any time you want. And so it's about believing that you are energetically plugged in and that what you throw out there gets to the right people, that it changes the right lives, and that draws them in like a magnet. And so you're making a dork there. You guys have like a whole thing going on here. But truly, not only that energetic piece, because I am out of just the woo woo element anymore. I feel like after years in spirituality, I needed solid. I needed a way to like bring this information into the world and anchor it down. And so what really came into play for me whenever it came to creating content was understanding that like our human design and gene key profile is everything whenever it comes to how we show up in our business. So if you have an online business, I want to have like a conversation with you. If you have an online business, drop an emoji below or tell me what you do. And if you've ever used your gene keys, if you've ever used your human design profile to really show up in your business, because this was something that I think that I was showing up like all of the other lines, all of the other profile lines instead of my own, because I didn't even realize that mine was an option. I like everything that you see online. It's all about like storytelling content, educational, give them value. And yes, those are all beautiful things and those should all be sprinkled into what we do. But for the longest time, I was showing up like a line one from time to time where I would try to just like info dump on everybody and be like, this is all the information, but it would make me feel tired. I would sit in front of my laptop for an hour and it's like, ain't nobody got time to post that long. Like that doesn't make sense, Stephanie. And I tried and tried and tried again, and it just felt wrong. And so truly, there was other times where I tried to post like I was a 3 or a 4. And so the 3s and 4s, you guys have this stirring of emotion, of pain, of pleasure, of the experiences that you've moved through, of all of those things that you get to share through your stories. And really, I was trying to show up like that, but it was draining me. Like I used to put myself on blast whenever I want to deeply thank you for your gifts you've been giving. Oh, Katrina, I'm so glad you're here again. Yay. I love hanging out with you guys. My voice must get like really high whenever I'm excited, but I'm so excited to be here. So truly, like I was trying to show up like a 3 or like a 4, and it was draining me. I just started learning what the gene keys are. Tina, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Make sure you follow me over here and on Instagram because I'm talking about gene key juice all the time and all the different fun ways that you can use your gene keys to make money online in your business. And just like literally be the best version of yourself. Turn on these higher qualities so you can go out there and make money. But I used to info dump in the way of like telling my story, getting into all the ooey gooey nitty gritty details. And it would make me feel tired. And it would make me feel like I post it because I thought I was supposed to post that way. And I would still feel like that doesn't feel like me. That doesn't feel like who I am. Oh, Tina, perfect timing then. Yay. Yes, we're not having a good time. New to human design. Where do I start? So I talk a lot about gene keys, and gene keys are like a deep dive into your human design. You at any moment in time can go Google free human design profile or free gene key profile. And there are so many resources like of different websites that you can pull that information from. And people like me and other human design readers post daily about this kind of stuff to get your engine revved up and ready to learn more about it, where you can start piecing things together. But I'm going to tell you what, whenever you do dive into a course or a masterclass, things like that, that just speeds up the learning process so much more. I know this from my own personal experience of where I've tried to like put information together and it took me a really long time to learn versus just learning from somebody who has already gotten the kitchen dirty and they're just going to give you the cupcake and be like, here you go. Like that's truly how I feel about these gene keys, because what I learned through taking the online course to become a gene key guide, I actually like didn't so much absorb the information from that online course. What I did was study human design. I studied the books of the gene keys. I studied the Chinese I Ching, and then I let it filter through my system. So by the time I just took that course so that I could like legally be talking about all the gene key information and just kind of a way of saying thank you to the people who would like put this information out there, I already knew. So I didn't even go through the course the traditional way that people do. This is the 2 line in me. By the way, if you're a line 2, you can understand this, like where you learn differently than other people. Like you don't learn by the normal structure. It's like, it's just kind of, you gobble up the information and then something moves through you. Diving into this has seriously changed so much for me. My mindset, it's amazing. I'm so excited. This makes me so excited. Chris, I love that. I know. Isn't it so freaking groovy? Like how much we change whenever we learn more about ourselves. Like I say it all the time. It's like taking a cosmopolitan quiz where it was like, oh my gosh, I want to learn more about myself, but like really getting into the deep diving crevices of all the things that make you you. So I love that. Oh yeah, you agree with the two for sure. And Angela, you have to be willing to lead with your genius. And it's so intimidating for people with twos. I'm a 5-2, so I don't lead particularly with my two, but it's very much still inside of here, and I still show up with it to a certain extent. I lead with my 5, but whenever you have that too, it can feel intimidating to be that person that's like, hey, I'm really freaking cool. I can't explain how, but like, come watch me do what I do. And like, people want to pay you for it. It's the craziest thing. It's actually not that crazy. Now that I say that, like, can we just all get on board with the fact that like, we should be making money doing what we love? We should be making money doing what we love. And we're allowed to make money, incredible, crazy pants in the best way money doing what we love. And just like let that sink into every single cell of your body. Because a world exists right now where you can open up your phone, you can get online, and you can speak about things that you love, and you can share that with people all over the world. And never has there ever been a time where we have this much ability to do whatever the heck we want in whatever way that we want. So go out there and use it. Go out there and get up on your soapbox and shine. But whenever you have that too, Angela, just know that like there is something about you that is so full of passion, that has like these incredible aesthetics that you can bring to your online brand, that no one else's stuff will look like you. And the way that you learn things will not be the normal way. And that is okay. You are supposed to show up and you are supposed to shine. So there's been a lot of this that I've learned being a 5-2. Being a 5-2 with like how I explain the gene keys. Cause sometimes people ask like, and I do my very best of like explaining like, this is how I piece all of these pieces together and how I see it. And I just share it from my point of view, but it may not make sense to other people, but that's okay because I'm just supposed to show up and be like, I don't know how I know what I know, but I know it. You know, I don't know how I know what I know, but I know it. Like, that's just who I am. Just who I am. And I think us twos give more people, whether people have twos or not, we give people the permission slip when they see us just like moving in our natural habitat with what we're good at. We give them this like breath of fresh air to feel good in their own skin with what they do. Let me scroll back up. I want to make sure I'm loving everybody joining the chat and chitter chatting. This makes me so happy. Leah, so you're new to the gene keys. Okay, so this is a deep dive into your human design and astrology. It's basically taking that same information and putting a different mask on it, putting a bit of a different twist on it so that you can understand yourself better. And the way that I personally teach these gene keys and the way that it's always made sense for me, because I'm a 5-year entrepreneur, is through the lens of business. And so I love business. I actually spent like the first 4 years of being a business owner, like not seeing my own greatness and really playing it small. And so whenever I came across the information and the inspiration of these gene keys, it was like, I talk about it as like a sleeper agent or something. Like you hear a word and it's like every cell in your body wakes up and it's like, oh my God, I know exactly what I'm supposed to be doing now. And even if you don't know like the nitty gritty of every single piece of the map, you're like, I know where I'm headed now. And this makes so much sense. Like, of course, that's my natural gift and ability. Of course, I can make money doing this. Like I look back and I see where I've done it before, or there'll be a gene key that you learn about that you're like, oh my God, I never saw that in myself. I actually always thought that I sucked at this, but maybe that's because I was afraid of something that's like really, really great that can totally change my life. Like for me, I found out that my voice was such a strong part of my gene key chart. And I was somebody that always hid behind my writing. And so whenever I found out my voice was really something I needed to be leaning into, I sat with it for a little bit, but eventually I just had that aha moment of like, nobody's coming, Stephanie. Nobody's coming to tell you that it's time. Nobody's coming to tell you that you're perfect, that you've got it all figured out, that this is the moment, go do it. It was just this knowing of, I've got to get up on my soapbox. I've got to start talking. I've got to start teaching. I don't have to be perfect. Nobody expects me to be perfect. I get to just show up and be myself through sweating through my natural deodorant, through feeling like I want to go jump in the pool with all my clothes on, through feeling like I want to throw up whenever I press live. Like I get to show up anyways and teach and shine. Like you get to do that. You don't have to wait for anyone else's permission so that you can be awesome, so that you can be great. You get to ignite that in your system, and these gene keys help you do that. Because I don't know about you, but like I love archetype energy. And I'm seeing some comments below. Don't worry. I'm going to go through all of these because you guys are like bringing up such incredible things. I just want to go through them all. Like I love talking about this. And so truly, like whenever you tap into these gene keys, you're tapping into these archetypes and you're turning on this greater self in your system. It really is mindset work. It's like, okay, like I'm a rebel. Like if you have the 43rd gene key, it's like, I'm a rebel. I'm supposed to be doing things my own way. I'm supposed to be talking about things different. If you have the 12 in your gene key chart, it's like, oh, my voice is very unique. I don't need to be sounding like anybody else, which, oh my gosh, if you've ever watched my stuff before, I talk about like Jerry Seinfeld a lot whenever I talk about the 12th gene key and how you're supposed to be using your own voice. And like Seinfeld was a little bit before my time, but I went and rewatched all of it. I watched like his comedians in cars getting coffee. I think that comedians are a really good way for us to see what it's like to have these star qualities and have persistence with what it is that you're creating in your business. So I love watching comedians. But I get to go to a Jerry Seinfeld show at the end of the month. And I'm like so excited. And I found out like when I was doing these celebrity gene key readings that his like biggest money maker was that 12th gene key, was that using his own specific voice, not sounding like anybody else, being his biggest money maker. So you can see, like, if you go back and look at my celebrity gene key readings, like all of the gene keys that really help these people, whether they realized it or not, stand out. So whenever you have this information of these gene keys, you get to split the time into a quarter, if not even more, because you're not stumbling and falling your way into it. It's like, hey, do this thing, turn on this archetype inside yourself, believe that you're this person, show up with this gift, play around and post with this energy, and nothing will ever be the same. Like that's how you magnetize in your right clients whenever you show up with your particular energy and you're being yourself. So, by the way, this whole thing is about content creation. And if you have been wanting to get into the gene key world, whether you just found it today or you've been listening to my stuff for a while and you're like, I'm curious, I'm intrigued, I have a $99 masterclass that starts tomorrow. The second class is on Thursday. And this is all about falling in love with creating content. Having fun showing up daily for your online business, because there was such a long time where I loathed it. Even though I knew these gene keys, I wasn't using them to help me create content. I wasn't using my energy correctly. And so whenever you learn to use your energy correctly for you and you get plugged in and you have things that inspire you to make these content, make this post every day, everything starts to change in the best way possible. Because I don't know about you, if you have a 2 or 3 in your profile, you do really well with like biofeedback. So like having something that sparks your interest. And so for me, I've always loved like having little plug and play, little templates that like just get my engine revved up and going. So in the second day of this masterclass, we go into those plug and play templates and like easy posts too. So the first day is more like energetic in these gene keys, the energy of your profile. And the second day is more like, here's the action, like here's the easy ways you can post. So if you sign up for that while we're on this live right now, I'm going to send you a recorded lesson on the life's work gene key. And so it's like a 20-minute recorded lesson that is only, I don't even think I have it yet available on Insight Timer for just like the premium members. So this gets sent to you if you sign up for this $99 masterclass while we're here right now. So it's my goal to get as many humans into the gene key world this summer as possible. And so I have a lot of no-brainer like investments for this month of July. So make sure you get in on that because we start tomorrow. Okay, I'm going to keep going. La 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 la. Yeah, you were a 6'2" and you were on the struggle bus before you learned about yourself. Yeah. Oh, you're a 3'5", Manny Gen. Oh, I love working with Manny Gens because, like, first and foremost, like my mom and my stepdad, who I grew up with, were both manifesting generators. And so I'm a regular generator, but I think I just like learned to be a manifesting generator from being around all of them. I had done a few lives and a podcast with Annalena Fuke, who does human design over on Instagram. I don't think she has TikTok, but I think she has Instagram. And so she told me, she's like, you are one gate away from being a manifesting generator. And that gate is the fifth gate or the fifth gene key. And so the way that I interpret it with my own energy, I'm like, oh, so if I plug into routine and structure through that fifth gene key and like my own rhythms, I'm basically a manifesting generator. So I consider myself like a line straddler with that, but I always end up having a lot of manifesting generators in my life because I think that the way that I teach this and the way that I help people and guide people in their business really helps your beautiful little squirrel brain that has so many interests and are good at so many things to funnel all of that through one prism. And I really help you like build that structure to like guide all of your interests through one thing. Stephanie, so true. Do it. Go. I'm a 6'2" splitting projector and also realizing I need to own my gifts and gene keys. Yeah, Jenny, like it's so big whenever we just decide like, okay, this is who I am and this is who I get to show up as from here on out. Like there's something about these gene keys for me that has always felt like this is where I draw the line in the sand. And I feel like I've come across like many chapters of that through learning my gene keys, because regular gene keys, the way that you would learn it through like the books or the courses, it's very poetic. It's very like long-winded in a sense, but it's beautiful. But I love to teach it in the sense of like, okay, let's cut out all of the extra and here's just the information you need. But whenever we like take that and actually run with it, everything in our life starts changing, and you will go through those phases of contemplation like the regular gene keys talks about, where it's like, oh, I thought differently about this gene key 3 months ago than I do now. And like, that's beautiful. That's epic. I can't even tell you how many of the gene key definitions through hundreds of readings that I've done, how many of them have changed because of the people that I've worked with, and they've helped me to see it in a different light. But also there's something so magical about just taking it now and seeing what you can do with it, because it's always going to change. You're always going to evolve and you're always going to keep growing. So you might as well take this thing, and instead of waiting and just being like, oh, like if I would have found out like, hey, Stephanie, your voice is like a big part of your gene keys, of your gifts. If I would have sat there and just like waited for someone to come knocking on my door to be like, Stephanie, we need you to speak on stages and do all the things and like teach this course, I would have been effing waiting forever. Like I would have been waiting forever. So you have to take this information and run with it. Sweet. Confused how to use 19 for business. That's a really good question. So it's so funny. I end up, Nicole, talking about the 19 quite a bit, but it's one of those things. A lot of the people that I see that have the 19 can sometimes have like little rougher around the edges. Like they're really sharp. They're really like quick with it. And they tend to have like an analytical mind, but they have this sweet center. They have like that sweet center of the Tootsie Pop inside of them, that whenever you have this 19, you are meant to share that sensitive side of you in your business. So if this is in your life's work, then this is going to be where, like, whenever you make your posts for your business, yes, they can be full of information. They can be like full of things that inspire other people, but maybe you like open yourself up like you're a rose. Like you just let pieces of you come out, like show sides of you that not everybody sees. And like by you being vulnerable and opening up that door, you magnetize in all of the right clients and the people that want to work with you. And so, whatever it is that you're passionate about, blend it with that sensitivity and start to see how you could create a business from that. And blah, blah. Aw. Chris does have a great personality. So yeah, the Gene Keys are like a deep dive into your human design. I'm not doing any readings today. We're just doing Q&A. Squirrel brain here. All right, I'm scrolling back up. But yeah, does anybody else have a business online or you're creating one right now? Like what are you wanting to do online? Or if you already have one going and you're like, I just want to do this better. I just want to enjoy myself. 1-3 manifesting generator. Da, da, da. I say, okay. Ooh. All right, so the 50, you and Jerry Seinfeld. So the 53 is, let me think on that. So that one's all about having these like you're somebody that's really good in new beginnings. And so a lot of people are like afraid of like starting things over and over again and doing different things. And like maybe you're someone that has like tried a lot of different hobbies and jobs, but like actually all of the knowledge that you have gained from all of these new starts helps you in where you're going. And so I don't have, or I guess I have the 53 in my Chiron, which is, or Chiron, like however you pronounce it. But I like to explain this in the sense that like I have been a BMW saleswoman. I have been an x-ray clerk. I have been a bartender. I have been a psychic medium. I have been a lavender farmer. And all of those things have gotten me to where I am now. So whenever you're a 53, you have this eclectic knowledge from these new beginnings of all these things that you've started that can help you with whatever chosen career you decide to go down. And so see how you can blend all of the best pieces from what you've learned into one thing. See what the golden thread was through all of those things and how you can turn the volume up on that and then blend it with something that you're passionate about. And so I always see these 53s as these people who are the ones who kickstart projects. Like, you know how there's certain people who like can hold the energy in the middle, or they can like dot the T's and cross the I's, somebody else. But like, there has to be somebody that has this like, go, let's like get it done. Let's get this started. Like, let's get this party rolling kind of energy that like, that helps people get something up and moving. So whether you like help people with fitness or you help people with like leading their best life, it's almost like you're the person that gets to be there in the very beginning phases of like almost like how you would kickstart like a car battery. You would like jumper cable a car and like wake people up and be like, okay, and now we go. You give them that juice to get started. Seeing is my emotions. Yeah. Answer. Nice. It's so funny. I have talked Gene Keys and human design for so long. I used to speak purely like astrology and life path numbers. And because there's so much in my brain now that is all about the Gene Keys and human design, I'm sometimes like, what? Like I used to know that language. You know, like if somebody like stopped speaking Spanish for 10 years and then they try to go back, they're like, hang on a second. That's how I feel sometimes. I still love like regular astrology, but this is just like that on steroids. Like this is the Gene Keys just like take it so much further. It's so funny. Like I wake up in the middle of the night and I think about this kind of stuff. Like I'm that crazy pants bananas that I'm like thinking about my posts. I'm thinking about like different ways of viewing the Gene Keys or how people can use it in their business. And I was literally thinking about regular astrology when I like woke up in the middle of the night and I was like, oh, I see how the gene keys like go into even deeper than just like saying, oh, this is in Libra, this is in the 10th house, because like it's split up even further with those weeks, understanding those gene keys. Yeah. Brandy looked at my Chiron yesterday and she basically told me to stop being a control freak. I freaking love Brandy. We're about to be doing more lives together. We're going live together this Wednesday evening at 4 p.m. my time. So what would that be, like 7 p.m. Eastern? So we're going live together this week. We have quite a few more lives together. If you haven't signed up, by the way, for the online business retreat, this is a $55 investment to have Brandy Yates, who does human design, to have Kelsey Yeager, she's the manifesting scientist. She talks about the actual science behind manifestation. We've got Pearl, who is doing health and mindset work. And then I'm going to be talking about gene keys. So this is a 4-course in one on July 15th. So this is just like a couple hours on the Saturday. You basically get to go to a business retreat. It's an online business retreat where you can wear your slippers and drink your lemonade and learn about all these different tools you can use for your online business. Yay! I'm glad you're going. Yes, make sure you go sign up. That link is in my bio. Like I said, I have a lot of no-brainer, like get into the gene key world stuff for the month of July. So I've got a really cool thing coming up like towards the end of July that I'm like, oh my God, it's perfect for you with your business. And like, if you're like just getting started with an online business, is going to be perfect for you. But right now I have, a $99 investment that is the keys to content for this week. It's a 2-part masterclass and then a $55 online business retreat. So these are part of the no-brainer summer to get into this world. We are going to go live together here. Brandy is mainly over on TikTok. She doesn't do so much on YouTube. I have my YouTube up right now that I'm streaming. She doesn't do so much on Instagram as of now. That might not be forever, but as of now, she doesn't do that. So it's going to be over here on TikTok. It would be so much better than those high school career tests. I know, Leah. Like I say that all the time. I literally had this conversation with my husband this morning, and I'm like, if I would have known this information in high school, or like, what if teachers got to know this information about their students? Like, how different would everything be? And it's funny because I'm big on like, this is not written in blood. This is not written in stone. You don't have to define your whole life by it, but use it as inspiration and like these guiding posts, almost like banks of a river that help you flow a little bit easier. And truly, like I will sometimes sit in my shower and just be like washing my hair, and I'll be like, I wonder if this person from high school was a 2-4. And I'm like, that is the weirdest thought, but I know that they probably were. Like now that I'm thinking about it, it's so funny. It's like you just wonder like if that would have helped you navigate things. But we learn what we learn when we need to learn it. Like big believer in that. We learn what we learn when we need to learn it. But yeah, it truly, like, I remember my mom giving me that book, What Color is Your Parachute? And I just felt like a total loser because I didn't know what to do. I was like, I wanted to go to school to be a marine biologist, but I was like going to school in the middle of nowhere, Illinois. And it was like, make it make sense. Like, this doesn't make sense. Yeah, I went from wanting to be a marine biologist to wanting to be a regular biologist because I was like, okay, you got to be really smart to be a marine biologist. So maybe I'll just be a regular biologist and I'll work with elephants. But yeah, I love Brandy. We're going to have so much fun. I'm crazy about her. And so the Keys to Content Masterclass is tomorrow and Thursday. It's a 2-part masterclass that is all about falling in love with creating content and knowing that you're ready to show up daily and post online, but doing that with the magic of your gene keys and just being plugged into this energy so that posting feels easy. And so that is Monday and Thursday, and that is $99. That link is in my bio. If you sign up while we're on here, I will send you a recording of a lesson that I did about the life's work gene key. And so that's like a 20-minute lesson. And so, and then the event is July 15th. It's on a Saturday. It starts at 11 a.m. Eastern. If you're not able to be there for the, like the 4 mini courses in one, then you will get the recording. It'll be in the Facebook group. So you can watch it anytime later. I want to know more. Hi, Rose. Well, make sure you follow me over here and on Instagram, Rose, if you want to learn more about this kind of stuff. I post like a crazy mofo. Like I'm posting all the time on both platforms about how to learn more about these gene keys, how to use them for your business, how to use them to inspire your posts and gain confidence in your online business. How do you figure out your gene keys? This is completely new to me. Of course. So what you're going to do is Google free gene key profile. And I'm telling you what, you'll go to the Gene Key website, but the first time I entered my date, time, location of birth, I was like, what in the heck do all of these circles mean? So they all mean something different. One of them is like the energy of your career. One of them is the energy of your life's purpose. One of them is like how you make money. Another one of them is like how you evolve, how you grow in your business. Because I teach them personally through the lens of business. Not every single person that you come across will teach it through that way. I've always seen it through business because I'm an entrepreneur and I love talking about business. I love talking about how people can make money doing what they love and what they're really good at. So you will always hear me talking about it through that frame. Make sure you go follow me over on Instagram though, because like throughout these past few months, you'll see how much my content has like massively evolved since probably last fall. And I've come into my rhythm of like falling in love with my content, but for months and months, I had been creating content about all these different gene keys, how you can use them. So if you scroll back pretty far too, like there is a bunch of juice and information. And like I said, you'll be able to see a huge evolution that takes place in a very short amount of time. And I give thanks to my gene keys for that inspiration. And for me, not just my gene keys, for me deciding to say, hell yeah, this is what I'm good at and I'm going to do it. Like I'm going to stop being scared and I'm going to do it. Oh my gosh, you guys are like having a conversation back and forth. I'm like, what's going on? Oh. Hi, Wendy. Gosh, that's such a good name, Wendy. Makes me happy. I think I like W names because they like my old last name. They used to call me Wheezy. And so I always like it. It's like a term of endearment. But yeah, if you have any more questions, let me know. Let me know if you have any more questions. Because, like, what is on my plate for the rest of the day? I've been creating content all morning. I've been like making emails, showing up on lives, doing stuff like that. But now I get to go watch The Witcher. Does anybody else watch The Witcher? I don't know if you heard me say this earlier, but I read all of the books like last year. And oh my God, the show is not the same as the books. And I championed through those books because I was like, I want to know what's coming on, like what's happening. Oh my God, I want to start soon. I'm finishing this. I haven't watched that one, but I was like, oh my gosh, like I want to know what's going on with The Witcher. And so then they're going in the second season, they're changing everything up. In the second season, they spilled the beans on some of the like biggest like the last book. Some of the juice from the last book was in the second season. I'm like, what is happening? But I'm still in love with it. Like I will always still watch it. Nice. Bye, Chris. So whenever we talk about time and date of birth, I've actually seen, so this is a very interesting thing I came across recently where there was like this app and I don't know much about it, but I was like looking up somebody's random gene key charts. I was looking at Bill Burr. He's a comedian. I was looking up his human design chart so I could like find his gene keys. Cause there's something about him that like, he's kind of like angry, but not in real life. He's angry on the stage, but not in real life. And so I was watching him on a show and I was like, he has something that reminds me of my husband. And so I looked this up, and because they didn't know his exact time of birth, it like ran the human design chart for like every 3 hours. And more so in the human design chart, in the centers, does it make a difference rather than like the actual like planetary placements. Like there's one or two that can shift sometimes. And so what I like to tell people though, so like your centers will change at the different times, like with your human design, but with your gene keys, it will probably be pretty much the same. But what I like to tell people is if you don't know your exact time of birth, just literally sit with yourself and ask like, hey, what time sounds good to me? And you might hear like 11:36 a.m. Or maybe you just take time throughout your day and be like, what is a time, like set it in your brain, like, because whenever we feed our brain something, we get the answer. Like, I'm a huge believer in it, whether it hits you the next day or it hits you next week. Like, just feed your brain, like, hey, I want to know what time I was born, like what's a good time. And so you will get an answer and you just plug that in. And so, like I said, this is not set in stone. This is not set in blood. Like, we're supposed to use this for inspiration, because at the end of the day, this is channeled out information and it's supposed to help us rise higher instead of keep us in a box. And so you may learn all about your chart that you were born at 12:53, but maybe 3 months from now, you're like, I'm going to see what it says for 6 p.m. And it might change a few things. It might change a couple things up, but we learn information exactly when we need it. And so there are plenty of things that are in my gene key chart that I've learned about other gene keys and integrated those into my system. So there's no doing this wrong. Whenever you learn these certain keys or learn about this energy, you're shining a light on that. You're making it important. And then, like, I do my business chart, like laying it on top of my own personal chart. And so that's adding in different elements as well. So there's no right or wrong way to do this. If you want to type in one at one time and then a couple months later do a different one, that's okay too. And you're going to learn something each time you do it. SP projector, generator, sun. So I speak more fluent gene keys than I do just human design. But if I were to take a step back, just take a deep breath and see what, like, the inside of me, like the sparkly side, would have to say about that. It's truly like, whenever you have somebody that has so much energy, and I love calling them squirrel brains, like, you don't have to be at that same level. Like, no one expects you to be this person that is like the helicopter mom that like zooms over every single thing that they do so that you're supportive. Like, there are ways that you can sit back and you can watch as this child does all of these things, has all of these interests, and still be as influential and have more energy than if you were pretending to be something that you're not. So I always say with the projector energy, first and foremost, don't let, because I see this commonly with projectors, don't let this lack of energy title keep you from having energy at the times that those spurts want to move through you. Because I think it can be easy sometimes whenever you learn about being a projector and you're like, oh my God, no, I do have like times when I'm tired. And then there's just, it's almost like where it gives people a permission slip to like not step up and not really like hold themselves to their highest level. So just be aware of that in your system, because I think projectors are so important, and you really can help guide the energy of that little manifesting generator to the right places that it needs to be. So just respecting your own energy and knowing that you don't have to do things the exact same way as them to be a good parent. Just be nice to yourself, truly, like, just be kind to yourself, because we're all learning. And like, what this information does at the end of the day is it helps us turn on something in our system. It helps us see something different about ourselves and lean into the strengths that we have. So where you can really come into play with this is helping guide that energy into the right directions. Yeah. Because you don't always need to be right there getting your hands dirty with them too. You can just be that guide. Just be that one that, like I said about the banks and the rivers, you help direct that energy. Blah, blah, blah. But all right. Well, I feel complete for, oh, you're a manifesting generator. I hang out with a lot of manifesting generators. Those kids come around a lot. So like I said, my mom and my stepdad were both manifesting generators. So I grew up in a house with them. So to communicate and get the attention of manifesting generators, you had to think quick. You had to talk quick. So I'm very familiar with that. But all right. I hope that you guys have the most beautiful day. If you want to have fun whenever you're making content and you really want to utilize these gene keys whenever it comes to creating content so that you can show up daily online on your Instagram, on your TikTok, make sure you sign up for the Keys to Content course. We start tomorrow. It's $99. And then also we have the event coming up on July 15th where it's four of us, four people in human design and health and mindset and the science behind manifestation and the Gene Keys all together for an online business retreat where we're teaching that on July 15th. So make sure you sign up for that as well. And why am I? Okay. And make sure you follow me over on Instagram too, and follow me here if you want to learn more about these Gene Keys and how to use them for your business. So have a beautiful rest of your day, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye. Thank you for being here. If you're watching later, I am so glad that you were able to hang out in this groovy energy and learn some new things about yourself. But have the most beautiful day, and I will talk to you later.